Ouch, I got something in my eye. Is blue light harmful? I'm actually going to talk about your personal experience. Has that ever happened to you? I bet it has. Being on your phone at night, scrolling through Instagram, YouTube, or on the computer, and taking forever to fall asleep, waking up during the night, waking up the next day with no energy, no confidence, no focus, feeling grumpy, anxious. Not good, just not good. I'm not going to list everything. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever truly felt healthy, with your full potential being completely respected and acknowledged by others? Did that genuinely feel good and satisfying for you? No, it has actually been quite harmful and detrimental for you. One night like that, 2 nights like that, no problem. But our days are short. They are numbered. Without getting into philosophy, the purpose of life, after all, isn't just happiness, but also to do useful things and make the most of these days. That's what differentiates the impact left by some people versus others. So yeah, what I wanted to say is if we keep doing this over several nights and therefore several days, is it harmful? Yes, and it's also proven. So sleeping poorly in the long term, working at night, working 24 hours straight, it's a risk factor for all kinds of psychological, neurological, neurodegenerative, cardiovascular, infectious, and cancer-related diseases. Everything. So harmful in what way? Blue light is a type of visible electromagnetic radiation that is particularly energetic because its wavelength is very short. The wavelength, as I mentioned in another video, is kind of like the ID card of a wave, and specifically for light, it's the ID card of a light photon. And how is it harmful? Well, we need to understand the journey of blue light. We need to understand the visual system, but to sum it up, it's proven that artificial blue light harms the cells in the retina. The retina is like a movie screen at the back of the eye that tells the brain, and it's even the beginning of the brain. The retina tells the brain, okay, I'm seeing Lake Clermont. And the photoreceptors in the retina, the cones, the rods, the IPRGCs, I won't talk about them in this video, but they're super important. And third, they suffer. The retinal pigment epithelium also suffers. It accumulates an aging pigment called lipofuscin. On top of suffering, they're more sensitive to blue light, to the wavelength of blue light. And they suffer, they malfunction, and they're at risk of dying prematurely. That's proven. What hasn't been proven, I repeat, what hasn't been proven is whether it's a clinical risk factor for disease. For example, AMD, you've heard of that name, age-related macular degeneration. To my knowledge, no, it's not proven yet. Maybe it will never be proven. A little scary parallel, I'm sorry. But you agree that people often adopt technologies that are really good, that allow us to connect today. But there you go, people adopt technologies sometimes without understanding the consequences. They adopt behaviors without understanding the consequences. So for example, cigarettes in the 1920s and 1930s. People smoked a lot, doctors smoked. And the first study that shows it's a risk factor for lung cancer, not to mention all the other cancers and diseases it causes. The first study that proves this was in 1964 or 62, I think it's 64. So there you go, it's harmful to the retina, okay? Without saying that it's proven to be a risk factor for age-related macular degeneration or even for cataracts, even though I do think so. But there you go. Cataract, what is it? It's the clouding of the lens, which is most often age-related, although there are other causes, including traumatic ones. So here we just talked about the eye, then the eye. It's fascinating, but it's really our window to the world. There are other entry points, but the eye is still magnificent. Even if it's really small, the eye is already the beginning of the brain. There are already neurons in the retina. And so, all our nervous system functioning, which is then responsible for how our muscles and all our organs work, is under the influence of our nervous system. And in particular, I'm thinking about our circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is the biological clock The biological clock is the fact that in the evening we feel like sleeping, except when we're in front of screens and not protected from blue light. And during the day we can do really great things. I'm going to go back down, because otherwise you'll hear the cars and it won't be great. So that's the biological clock. And yes, it's also harmful, it's very harmful. And it's the most proven, the most logical, and the most annoying. Blue light is very harmful to our biological clock. And having a bad biological clock is really bad for your health. And it's also really bad for our daily lives, because then we wake up and we have no energy. Sorry to go in circles. I've already made a video about this, but there you go. We have to use our daily lives as best we can. So it's proven that blue light is harmful, particularly because it inhibits the secretion of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. In fact, it's a hormone that's released by the pineal gland or epiphysis at the back of the brain. Sure, it's the sleep hormone, but actually it's a hormone that, as I mentioned in another video, is at the crossroads of our physiological functions. Not just sleep, but also our antioxidant defenses, our ability to fight off viruses. So the immune system, it's anti-cancer, it regulates blood sugar with insulin secretion, and it helps us manage our weight. It has great psychological properties. For example, it's proven that late evening exposure to blue light significantly decreases dopamine levels in a part of the brain called the habenula. And it also notably increases sensitivity to anxiety, such as melatonin isn't secreted because of our exposure to light in the evening. Fortunately, today it's possible to partially restore this melatonin secretion thanks to effective glasses that block blue light, especially after sunset and until we go to bed. There you go, blue light is harmful. I've covered a bit, even though there's more to say, but I'm not going to continue